Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all for this online session on basics of electrical engineering. So this is entirely a 6-day crash course classes that we have got entirely to help you in scoring more in your final semester end examinations. I'll be handling this crash course classes as I already did in your basics of electrical engineering for your section. And this complete 6-day course, I'll be highlighting more on the concepts that are quite important from the examination point of view. Okay, so I need your complete understanding, and I'll be solving some of the problems also. And the first module is what we are going to discuss today. So in this 90 minutes of class, you will be going through some of the concepts you would have an understanding earlier itself. Okay, so it would be quite easy for you to understand whatever the concepts that are quite related here. Okay, so as I already told you, the first concepts whatever that we discussed. Okay, so we wanted to know what is the subject name. So we had all these things which are quite easy for you. You need to use the calculator and all. Okay, so the first concept what we wanted to discuss is regarding the measuring instruments. Okay, measuring instruments, and later I'll be covering regarding the fundamentals of alternating quantities. Okay, so I'll be starting right now with module number 1, that is measuring instruments and AC fundamentals. As I move ahead in tomorrow's class and in the upcoming classes that we have scheduled for this entire week, so I'll be talking more about the upcoming modules, module 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll follow the same order what we had covered, and I'll be highlighting some of the concepts which are important, as I've already told you. And I'll be having one more concept that is related to the numerical problems. So I'll be solving a few number of numerical problems, not completely, and this ensures that your handling of numerical problems in the semester end examinations are quite easy to you. Okay, so let us go in detail right now. So this is module number 1, where we dealt with the classification of electrical measuring instruments, types of secondary instruments, principle of operation of these instruments, essentials of indicating instruments, deflecting torque, controlling torque, and damping torque. So all these concepts we had discussed in the first half of the module, and in the next half of the module, we'll be discussing about the generation of AC sinusoidal voltage, how it is generated, and we have got two important derivations, that is average value and RMS value. So out of these derivations, what we have got, one of them is compulsory. Okay, so one of them will come for the semester end examination. Most probably it would be the root mean squared velocity, the value of sinusoidal quantity, and you will be getting some problems, and you will be having this phasor representation of alternating quantity. Those are the numerical problems what I'll also discuss there. Okay, so what I'll be doing right now is I'll be highlighting the concepts which are important, and I'll be going ahead what are the important questions that will come from the semester end point of view. Okay, so I want you to make a note of it. I'll not send a separate document or something like that. So you have to make a note of it, and what are numerical problems that we are going to solve, all those things that have to be kept in mind. Okay, so let us start right now with the simple concepts what we have got, that is the concepts related to module number 1. Okay, so this is the COPO mapping, everything is done. So now let us start in detail how we'll be covering these topics here. Okay, so most of the topics in measuring instruments, we had classification of electrical measuring instruments. So we had classified it as primary measuring instruments and secondary instruments, and next we had the type of secondary instruments. So I'll not go in detail to the classification of electrical measuring instruments, and I'll be concentrating more about the types of secondary measuring instruments. Okay, so an instrument, okay, so it is generally classified, it has a measured quantity, so where you can measure it with any other electrical quantity which is either accurate, convenient, and reliable of the electrical measuring instrument that is present. Okay. So next we have this division of electrical measuring instruments, that is absolute instruments and secondary instruments. So once we have this broad classification, so why I'll be having the absolute instruments, so which will give the quantity which is to be measured. Okay, so I call it as the quantity to be measured in terms of the constants of the instrument. So I call that to be a absolute instrument. Okay, so no previous calibration or comparison which is to be required. Okay, so it is generally used in standard laboratories and standard measuring instruments which are generally to be used. So next comes the secondary instrument. As I told you, the electrical quantity is directly proportional to the deflection produced in the instrument. Okay, so now you are provided with a calibrated scale, and the calibration is done by an instrument or another instrument, another calibrated instrument, so which are used in laboratories, power stations, substations, and industries. Okay, so all those things that are to be kept in mind. So once I'm talking about secondary instruments. Okay, so again, in types of secondary instruments, I got indicating instruments, which are directly indicating the value of the electrical quantity to be measured. Okay, so you will be having electrical quantity at time which is to be measured. I say indicating. So what are the indicating quantity that you have come across? What are the indicating quantity of instrument that you have come across? Name any indicating quantity, indicating instrument. A simple one, a simple indicating instrument.
Ammeter,
Yes.
galvanometer.
Yes, exactly. Ammeter, galvanometer, voltmeter, okay, wattmeter. So those are said to be the indicating instrument. Okay, so which indicates, or the pointer is deflected in such a way that it will be pointed to different values of current depending on where it is connected. All right. So next, what we are going to see here is we are going to have the current flowing in the circuit. An example, it's an ammeter there. Okay. So next you have the integrating instrument. Okay, so as I already told you, integrating refers to the total quantity of electricity or electrical energy or any other quantity which is related. So it can be measured over a period of time. So any quantity which is measured over a period of time using an instrument is called as an integrating instrument. Okay, so I call it as ampere hour. It is the total quantity of electricity. And next we have got electrical energy, so that is there as watt hours. Okay, so we call that to be ampere hour meter, that is the total quantity of electricity to be measured. And then we have got watt hour meter. Okay, so that is what we have to keep in mind. So you have these dials and the pointers which register the total quantity of electricity or electrical energy to be supplied to the load. Okay, so next comes the recording instrument. A recording instrument, so once you have a pen and a sheet or a paper or a chart, what you got, so you will be having it wrapped around a drum which is moving with a slow uniform speed. So the motion of the drum is directly perpendicular to the direction of the pointer, and the part traced out by the pen indicates the manner in which the quantity being measured, and it has varied during the time of the record. Okay, so we got recording voltmeters and recording ammeters that are placed in the supply stations, and it maintains the voltage during the day, that is the recording voltmeters, and recording ammeters, and which are employed for registering the current taken from the battery, that is in case of a recording ammeter. Okay, so these are the simple classification of the secondary instruments. Okay, so now what I want to have it in this block diagram which is there. So you have this moving iron and moving coil effect. So all these things are coming into picture in case of these electrical instruments. So we have moving iron, which is having a magnetic effect, and we got moving coil, which is electrodynamic effect and all. Okay, so these are the simple topics what you can remember. And next, when we talk about moving iron instruments, that is both DC and AC. It measures both the DC and AC, but preferably we'll be making use of AC for measurement. So any AC current or AC voltage, I'll be making use of moving iron instrument. Okay, so once you have the overall repulsion type, and next you have the attraction type. So you can see it over the diagram and you can remember it. So how the weights are distributed in the attraction type. If you see, this is the weights that are distributed, and next you have the shaft which is attached to the moving vane. Okay, so the moving iron vane, and you have a pointer and you have a hairspring which is there. All right, so this entirely refers to the repulsion type and the attraction type of instruments that are present. All right, so next one, what we have got is the moving coil instrument. Okay, so we call it as a PMMC. A PMMC meter places a coil of wire in between two permanent magnets in order to create a stationary magnetic field. Okay, so a current carrying conductor, as I told you, it will be the direction of force. What is that? So force will be equal to F, that would be equal to BIL sine theta. Okay, so the maximum force that can be developed on the pointer is nothing but B into I into L. Okay, so a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field will experience a force in the direction determined by the Fleming's which rule? Okay, so moving coil instrument. So you'll be having the Lorentz force which has been developed here. Okay, so it's not the Fleming's rule, it is the Lorentz force that has been developed here. All right, so now you have this permanent magnet moving coil instrument. Why it is exclusively used for the DC? Okay, so as I told you, it is exclusively used for the DC. The reason being, the current is not reversed in case of a DC supply, but in case of the AC supply, the direction of current will be reversed and the direction of torque will also be reversed. Okay, so an average value of the zero torque, that would be having no movement against the scale if I use it for a AC supply. So that is the reason why permanent magnet moving coil are used for the DC measurement. Okay, so next comes the electrodynamometer type and induction type. You just have to know this, and most probably these are the construction types. So I just wanted you to highlight it in the normal classes also. So not much important when it comes to the semester end examination. So let us move on to the next one, which we call it as essentials of the indicating instruments. So this is where the important topics will come into picture, and I'll be highlighting more about these concepts along with the numerical problems. Okay, so once I talk about this indicating instrument, so it is having a moving system which is entirely pivoted in the Jewel bearings. Okay, so I have this pointer which is attached to the moving system, which indicates on a graduated scale, and the value of the electrical quantity which is to be measured is to be determined. Okay, so proper operation of the indicating instruments following two main torques are being required. So one is the deflecting or the operating torque, and second one is the controlling or the restoring torque there. So what do you mean by operating torque? It is responsible for the pointer to move, and one which opposes the pointer movement is called as a controlling torque. I hope it is clear to you. Can you recall the basic definitions of it? So you will be having the deflecting torque, and next one you will be having the controlling torque there. So deflecting or operating or a moving torque, or we call it as controlling torque or restoring torque. So all these things are present there in case of the common aspects here, which is the main torque there. Okay, so main torque, it is divided into deflecting or operating torque, and next we have got controlling or the restoring torque, which is present there. All right, so this is how I can define it. If you can recall what I had explained in the deflecting or the operating torque. Can anyone read out? Can anyone read out? So what do you mean by deflecting torque, and what do you mean by deflecting or the operating torque? It is one and the same. So can anyone give an example? Okay, so you have an ammeter, and once you start increasing the value of current, the ammeter pointer moves. So how the various effects, either it might be a chemical effect or whatever may be the effect of the electric current, okay, so or the voltage. So you have the deflecting torque moving from a system which is attached from the zero position to the any position where a required value of the current is to be obtained. Okay, so the actual method of producing the deflecting torque depends on the instrument and while dealing with the particular instrument what you are measuring there. Okay, so that is how we can say it is a deflecting torque. Okay, so next we have controlling torque or the opposing torque which is there. So once the pointer is said to be moving, okay, so you need an opposing force which opposes the controlling torque, and it should oppose the deflecting torque, and it should increase with the deflection of the moving system. Okay, so pointer will be brought to rest at a position where two opposing torques are said to be equal. Okay, so once you reaches rest, okay, so it means that you will be having the pointer where the driving torque, okay, the driving torque will be equal to the control torque once it is at the rest position or it is at a standstill position. All right, so once I have TD minus TC, that would be equal to 0. Okay, so next I have this controlling torque which is there, and the controlling torque performs two functions. One with the increase in the deflection, so you have the final position of the pointer which will be moved, and it brings back the pointer back to the 0 position when the deflecting torque is removed. Okay, so once you have the current reaches 0, so it will be back to the 0 position. That is meaning the deflecting torque will be totally removed. Okay, so once you have this deflecting torque, okay, it has been removed, so pointer once deflected would not return to 0 position on removing the deflected torque. Okay, so I have a controlling torque, I have this controlling torque in the indicating instrument, so it is provided by one or more springs. We call it as spring control. Okay, next by weight of moving parts, so that is nothing but the gravity control. Okay, so I have the spring control and also the gravity control. Very important question. So mention the two methods in which the controlling torque in an indicating instrument can be provided or explain in detail. So very important question here. You can keep it in your mind. I repeat. So the controlling torque in indicating instrument may be provided by two methods, that is spring control, and the other one is the gravity control. So you will be getting a theory question. You can explain it with the help of a diagram, and next you can explain the same with the help of the numerical problems if they ask. So you will be in a position to answer those numerical problems then. Okay, so those are quite simple to you as I go ahead with the concepts which are there, and you can have an understanding of these topics what I'm going to deal right now. So most common method, and you know that the torque is expressed in terms of the Newton meter, and you have the hair-like spring, and you will be having the phosphorus bronze which is there. So this is a spring control method what I have got. Okay, so once I have this spring control method, so the angle theta is where the control spring is acting. So more or less you can see it is a linear scale. So if the pointer is moving like this, okay, if the pointer is moving like this, so you will be having a spring control which is directly proportional to theta, and TD will be directly proportional to I. So in the final deflected position, TD will be equal to TC. So that is where you will be having the control springs and also the spindle, and you have the balance weight. So overall, if you look at it, the driving torque or the deflecting torque will be directly proportional to the current flowing, and the control torque is directly proportional to theta there. Okay, so next if I want to highlight this gravity control, so I have the weights that are being attached to it. So once you have the weight vertically downwards, and you will be having no control torque. So this is where you will be having the weight which is acting downward, this weight. Okay, so next you have the weight again divided into two components, that is W sin theta and W cos theta. So again, if you want to find out the deflected position, in the final deflected position, so you will be having TD proportional to I and TC proportional to sin theta. Okay, so once I have TD equals TC, and I will be proportional to sin theta. Okay, so that is where you will be having the current. So this is W, okay, W into L, okay, so the length of it. Okay, so you will be having sin theta, and you will be having the component. Okay, so the component W sin theta provides the control torque here. So this control torque will be directly related to the sine of the angle theta also. Okay, so then you'll be having the TD, which is proportional to the current. So we have the gravity control method where I got I proportional to sine theta. Okay, so I hope these concepts are clear. If you have any doubts, you can stop me at any point of time. If there's any doubts, this is one of the important questions that will be there. Okay, so make a note of it and keep it. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can stop me at any point of time. If you have any questions, you can stop me. If there are no more things, we will be having this numerical problems, what we'll be discussing right now. Any doubts? Any doubts, anyone? Any doubts, anyone? I want you to take your calculator if you don't have any doubts. So let us start with some numerical problems. Take out your calculator and I want people to interact with me right now because these numerical problems are which we are going to solve it and we are going to find out the answer. Okay, so without any further delay, so I'll be starting this numerical problems. I'll be stopping this PowerPoint presentation now. If you have any doubts, do let me know. We'll be solving this numerical problem and we'll be ending this module 1A, which is deflecting torque and controlling torque, all those things. Okay, so the next concepts are quite simple. After the numerical problems, you have the damping torque and the methods of damping torque. So you have air friction damping and fluid friction and eddy currents which are there. Okay, so all those things are self-explanatory and you can go through it. And if you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and you can talk with me. If you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and talk with me. Is anyone? Anyone who has any such doubts, you can let me know. Anyone? I want the sessions to be interactive because these are the small times where you have to utilize it. Okay, so if you don't utilize it properly, yeah. If you have any doubts, you can stop me at any point of time. I'll give you this like flexibility. So you just let me know if you don't have any such doubts. We can proceed to the next concept here, which is the numerical problems. Any doubts? Any doubts? No doubts? Shall we move on to the next one? Shall we move on to the numerical problems? Okay, then, thank you. So we'll move on to the numerical problems and let me start sharing a window here. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to everyone who is there in the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then, okay. So we'll be solving these numerical problems in detail right now. And I want you to go through with the concepts here, so which are there. Yes. So I hope it is clear right now. Okay. Fine. So shall we move on with the numerical problems? Okay then. So I'll take it as a yes. And let me start this numerical problem. Okay. So this is the problem where you will be getting it more or less most important concepts here. So I'll be highlighting these concepts with the Word document here. So, and I have the solution to these given problems in a written manner. Okay. So if I solve this numerical problem, yeah. So this is the solution what I'll be giving you to this given problem. So let me read out the problem. Deflecting torque of an ammeter is directly proportional to the current passing through it and the instrument has a full scale deflection of 70 degree for a current of 10 amperes. What will be the deflection for a current of 5 ampere when the instrument is spring controlled, and second one, it is the gravity controlled. So you can expect such problems. Okay, so what would be the current, I mean what would be the deflection, sorry, what would be the deflection? The current is at a 5 ampere and you have the spring controlled and the gravity control. Okay, so I have this deflecting torque which is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. So I can write it as TD proportional to I. Okay, TD proportional to I. All right. So if I have TD proportional to I here, so what I'll be doing this, so I'll be having a full scale deflection. So it is full scale deflection of 70 degree, and what is it? It is for a current of 10 amperes. Okay, it is for a current of 10 amperes. All right. So it is having a full scale deflection of 70 degree for a current of 10 amperes. And what will be the current? Okay, what will be the current? So I have a current of 5 amperes which is flowing through it. So when the instrument is spring controlled and the other one is the gravity control. Okay, spring controlled and gravity controlled. So I have two control methods here. So once I have an instrument which is spring controlled. Okay, once I have it as a spring control. So what it is? So it would be what is the spring control equation that you have in that you have got it? So can anyone let me know what is the spring control equation as we proceed with the numerical problem now? In spring control,
directly proportional to theta.
Very good answer. Very good answer. So it would be TD proportional to I as it is already given in the problem, and TC proportional to theta. Okay, TC proportional to theta. Now, what will be the deflection that is being produced? Okay, so for current of 10 amperes, okay, for current of 10 amperes, I have 70 degree. You can easily say that it is 35 degree for a spring controlled one. So let us move right now with the help of the equations that we have got. So where I'll be having I proportional to theta. Okay, why it is I proportional to theta? So we have to take a steady state operation I proportional to theta. So for 10 amperes, it would be 70 degree, and for 5 amperes, what is the angle? Okay, so that would be 70 degree into 5 divided by 10. That will be equal to the degree, that is the deflection in case of a spring control. Okay, so what is it? It is
35
degrees, exactly. So it is said to be 35 degree as the angle where it is when the instrument is said to be spring control. All right, so let us move on with the gravity control. Okay, so I'll erase this. So now what in case of a gravity control? So what it would be? So how do I solve it is the next question there. Okay,
I is directly proportional to sin theta.
Yes, exactly. So TC, okay, so TC, that is the control torque, that is being proportional to sin theta. Are you getting it? TC will be directly proportional to sin theta because sin of an angle is there in case of the gravity control. So we'll not take the weight and all. So we'll consider only the deflection that is to be required. Okay, so gravity control, that is gravity control. Okay, in case of a gravity control, so what will happen? Okay, so now I get at the steady state as TD is equal to TC, and I get I that would be directly proportional to sine of an angle theta. Okay, so what it would be 10 amperes. Okay, which will be directly proportional to sine of 70 degree, and 5 amperes will be directly proportional to sine theta. Okay, so I want to find out what is sine theta, and then I want to find out what is theta. Okay, can anyone let me know the answers, please? Can anyone let me know what would be the answers?
So sin theta is 0.469.
Very good, very good. Sin theta is 0.469, correct. Next, what would be theta? sine inverse. Okay, sine inverse of 0.469. Yes.
That is 27.96 degrees.
Very good, very good. So theta would be 28. We'll approximately take it at 28 degree. Okay. So can you tell me, Badri, how did you solve this? It is where most of you will go wrong. Can you highlight where you have done it exactly right?
Sir, I actually, first equation was sine theta equal to sine 70 into 5 by 10.
Exactly.
That's how I got it as 0.469. And the
Yes.
theta is sine inverse of 0.469, which
Yeah,
is
yeah. So will you keep it in degree or radian? Here.
I kept it in degree.
Yes, exactly. So this one sine inverse of 0.469. So once you maintain the angle in degree here, so here also it should be in degrees itself. So sine theta, it's an angle. So you will be getting theta would be equal to 28 degrees. Getting it? Any doubts up to this point? So you have to be careful and you have to think that, okay, so just imagine, so if 10 at sine 70 degree, you get a value here, right? So what would be the angle when you get 5 amperes? So somewhat you have to think like that, and you will be more or less close to 35 degree only. Okay, so once you take sine of 70, you get a value, and then you have to take it in terms of degrees. Okay, getting it right? Any doubts up to this point? So we have got both spring controlled and also the gravity controlled answer. Okay, so the deflection will be more in case of what type of control?
Spring control.
Exactly, in case of spring control. Okay, so deflection will be more in case of spring control. That is the control method there. Okay, so let us move on to the next one. Let us move on to the next problem. Okay, so it is a moving coil. If you can see, it's a moving coil ammeter. It has a control constant. Okay, so it has a moving coil. What is there? So it is a moving coil ammeter, has springs of gravity constant 0.3 into 10 power minus 6 Newton meter per degree. Okay, if the deflecting torque of the instrument is 28.8 into 10 power minus 6, find the angular deflection of the pointer. Okay, so once you have the constant, that is a moving coil ammeter which has a control constant, so which is K, which is 0.3 into 10 power minus 6 Newton meter per degree. Newton meter per degree if the deflecting torque of the instrument is 28.8 into 10 power minus 6 Newton meter. Okay, so find the angular deflection of the pointer. Okay, so it has a control constant, so K is said to be the spring control constant. All the data will be available in the problem itself. You just have to take it and you have to understand how we are going to do it. Okay, so if the deflecting torque of the instrument is 28.8 into 10 power minus 6 Newton meter, find the angular deflection of the pointer. Okay, find the angular deflection of the pointer. All right, so now I can say that in the a steady state position, I'll be having TD that would be equal to TC. Okay, so TC would be directly proportional to theta. So it is a springs. What you can identify here, it is a springs. It is nothing but the spring constant. It is nothing but the spring constant here. Okay, so now if I have this spring constant, so what it would be? So TC, if I replace the proportionality symbol, I'll be getting K into theta, where K is the spring constant. Are you getting it? How am I solving this problem? So K is the spring constant. Okay, so if you see here, I have got all the things and I have to find out how shall I solve this numerical problem here. Okay, so let us go in detail now. So I have TD that would be equal to TC. So I'll be having TD. What is TD? It is 28.8 into 10 power minus 6. That would be equal to TC. That would be K into theta. So I have 28.8 into 10 power minus 6. that would be equal to 0.3. What is K? What is K? 0.3 into 10 power minus 6 into theta. Okay, so what cancels? 10 power minus 6. What is theta? 28.8 divided by 0.3. So what is theta?
96.
96 degrees.
96 degree.
Exactly right. Correct. So it is 96 degree and you are given the right answer. So it is 96 degree and this is how you need to solve this. Okay. Getting it right? Okay. So this is how you solve a simple numerical problem which is related to the spring constant and gravity control. Okay. So now let us quickly move on to this one, which is the gravity control. I'll give an idea how to solve it and you have to solve it and let me know the answer in the group. Okay. So I want Navya is there? Navya B.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want you to solve this problem. You can see it is a gravity controlled instrument. Control weight is given. Okay, control weight W, which is 0.005 kg. Okay, so it acts as a distance. So L is given, which is 2.4 centimeter from the axis of the moving system. Determine the deflection of the degrees in degrees corresponding to the deflecting torque of 1.05 into 10 power minus 4 kg meter. Okay, so deflecting torque is there, which is 1.05 into 10 power minus 4 kg meter. Okay, kg meter. All right, so you have to find out how will you solve this numerical problem. Can you let me know how will you solve this? If you have understood the basics, can you let me know how will you solve this?
Sir, that is TD is equal to WL sine theta. It's
Very
proportional.
good, very good. So you have W and L. Sine theta is to be found out. Okay. So you have TD equals TC, right? So simple one, TD equals TC. It's a gravity controlled instrument. So you need to go for gravity controlled problem. Okay. So where you will be having TC that would be equal to WL sine theta. Okay. So W is known, L is known and you have to find out sine theta. Okay, so sine theta would be there and this is W into L, which is already given here, and that would be equal to this one, which is TD. Okay, so which is 1.05 into 10 power minus 4 kg meter. Getting it right? Any doubts up to this point? Any doubts up to this point? So this is a quite simple problem. You will be getting the answers quickly. Yes.
So is
Any
it
doubt?
0.5?
Yeah, which one?
Theta equal to.
No, check it. Check it properly. In terms of degrees, I want it. Okay, so you let me know in the like later or tomorrow you can take time and do it. So let me move on to the next problem. So this problem is quite simple. If you can apply the techniques properly, you can do it. Okay, so this problem is also quite simple. I want Badri Narayan take this problem. Okay, so which is the same as that of the first problem what we had solved, and you have to identify this statement. Okay, so the torque varies as the square of the current. Okay, so TD will be proportional to I squared. If a current of 10 ampere produces a deflection of 90 degree, what will be the deflection for 5 ampere? Okay, when the instrument is spring control, and second one it is the gravity control. Okay, spring control, and second one we got gravity control. Okay, so we got spring and gravity control. Okay, so yes, can anyone let me know how to solve it? Yes, Badrinarayan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you let me know how will you solve this problem? It is
Sir,
I
actually,
squared.
first we have to identify TD, sir, what it is equal to.
Yeah, TD is proportional to square
I
of the
square.
current. Square of the current.
Uh, so the square of the current is little confusing. I
Okay.
just have to think about it, sir. I'll think about
Okay.
it.
Okay. See, I'll give you a hint. TD is equal to TC, right? So what is TD? It is proportional to I squared. Okay. And TC, what in case of spring control? TC.
Proportional to theta.
Yes. So I squared will be proportional to theta. I can
Okay.
write it like this. At deflected position or at a steady state, you will be having I squared is equal to theta. So you have two values of current and one value of theta. So I can write it as I2 squared by I1 squared. That would be equal to theta 2 divided by theta 1. So I2 by I1 squared. So that is I2, which is 5 by 10 the whole squared. That would be equal to theta 2 by theta 1. That is theta 2 divided by 90 degree. Okay, so the value of theta 2 you find out. In a similar way, go for the gravity controlled also.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so share the answers as soon as possible. Okay, so this completes a bit of numerical problems related to fundamentals of electrical measuring instruments. Any doubts? Any doubts you can let me know. Any doubts you can let me know. Yeah, in gravity control, what happens? It is sine of an angle theta there. All right. So I squared will be proportional to sine theta in case of a gravity control. That's all. Okay, so you can expect such problems. This one. Okay, so you can expect such problems. Okay, so for the semester end examination. All right. So square of the current. Okay, so you can expect such problems. Fine. So any doubts up to this point? Anyone? Any doubts up to this point? So this completes the first half of module 1. Okay. Moving on to the next. We have the second half of the module. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can let me know. I'll stop sharing now. If you have any doubts, you can let me know right now.
Sir, is it 5 degrees sir, theta for third question?
Lot of echo is there. Lot of echo is there.
Sir, now?
Lot of echo is there, Navya.
Sir, now, sir?
You can use the chat box, please. Okay, so never mind. So Navya, share the answer after the class ends. Okay, so moving on to the next one. So we have the AC fundamentals. Okay, so very important concept here, AC fundamentals, which is a stepping stone for the next upcoming chapter, that is single phase AC circuits and three phase AC circuits. Okay, so moving on to the next one, that is AC fundamentals. Okay, so I'll be sharing it again, 1 minute. Okay, so this is the AC fundamentals, what we are going to discuss in short. Okay, so once you have AC fundamentals, so how the AC wave is generated is one important thing. So that is the generation of sinusoidal voltage. And next we have got average value and RMS value of a sinusoidal quantity. And next we have got form factor and peak factor. So where we'll be discussing that also. And next we have got the phasor representation of alternating quantities. So what it comes to your mind? So when we talk about generation of sinusoidal voltage, it is a typical harmonic wave. It's a simple harmonic motion that you have observed in physics. Okay, so recalling that, you will be having the spring mass and the damper system. So where you will be having the positive half cycle and the negative half cycle. So once it reaches the minimum and the maximum displacement that is there. Okay. So next you will be having how the AC lines, the magnetic lines are being generated. So that is the closed path. So the complete closed path for any line or group of lines of magnetic flux which are being referred to as the magnetic circuit. All right. So this is called as an electric circuit. We call it as electric current. So next we have got magnetic circuit where you will be having the magnetic flux. Okay. So most of the electromagnetic devices such as electrical machines and electromagnetic relays, so which work on the AC supply itself. So that is why the AC fundamentals are quite important, and AC is said to be important because all the linear passive elements will make use of the AC supply for its safe operation. You will be having the designed coils for the generation of sinusoidal voltage, and I told you the majority of most of the industries will use the electric motors, and it is used in the bulk power transmission from one end to the other end. So once the power is generated. Okay, so let us move on to the concept here, the equation of the generated EMF. Okay, so once I want to talk about this equation of the generated EMF, so you have a coil or a conductor which is placed, and you have a magnetic lines of force. So once you have this magnetic lines of force that is generated, and the coil is said to be having a relative motion. So you need to have the relative motion between the magnetic lines of force and also the conductors which are placed. So at each and every instant of time, so you will be having this magnetic lines of force, and you will be having the AC wave which is generated for one complete cycle. Okay, so that one we call it as one complete cycle here. Okay, so next you can define it as a sine function or a cosine function depending on the value at which it has been started. Okay, so in the similar way, once the voltage is generated, so you will be having the current also varying with respect to an angle that is t, okay, or an angle theta that is there. Okay, so that is where you will be having the current function. Okay, so current function, what I'll be talking here is the AC function there. Okay, so you will be having I is equal to Im sine omega t. What is Im? Can anyone let me know what is Im?
Maximum value.
Exactly right. What is omega? Anyone? Mahima? What is omega? What is omega? Pranita? What is omega? What is omega? Pranita? Ramyashri? Ramyashri, yes. What is omega? Pranav Kaushik, what is omega? Prasanna? Okay, so let us move on to the numerical problems now. So what you can expect in AC fundamentals? What are the important questions that you can expect in AC fundamentals? That is, first one, we will be talking about the average value and the RMS value. I'll explain it to you right now with the help of the sinusoidal wave. So one of the derivations will be compulsorily asked. Okay, so one of the derivation will be compulsorily asked, and we'll be solving some few problems and I want you to solve it with me as I inform. Yes, angular velocity is the right answer, Navya. Omega is called as it is not angular velocity, to be clear. It is termed as the angular frequency. Okay, so omega will be equal to 2 pi f, which is f is the frequency in hertz. Okay, f is the frequency in hertz, and omega, it is expressed in terms of radians per second. Okay, so let us move on to the numerical problems and derivation right now with this remaining time of 30 more minutes. Okay, so let me stop sharing. Okay, so let me Okay, so we had solved certain numerical problems, and this is the numerical problem which is related to the AC fundamentals. Okay, so let us start right now. Okay, so I have an alternating current which is given by I is equal to 141.4 sine of 314t. Find the maximum value, find the frequency, time period, and the instantaneous value when t is equal to 3 milliseconds. Okay, so I have I, which will be equal to 141.4 sine of 314 t. Okay, so I got this as Im. Okay, and this is omega into t. Okay, so where omega is 314, what is the unit? Radians per second. So this is the angular frequency. This is the angular frequency, and this one is the maximum value of the current. So Im, which will be 141.4 amperes. Okay, so got it right. So where you will be having Im, that would be equal to 141.4 amperes, and omega is said to be 314 radians per second. Okay, so I want you to find out the maximum value. We have already done it. Okay, so Im is that, which is 141.4 amperes. Omega is 314 radians per second. So omega is 2 pi f, that would be equal to 314 radians per second. So what is the frequency? What is the frequency that you get? What is the frequency? Anyone? Yes, Pranati? Yeah, Rifa is there. Yeah, Rifa, what is the answer?
50 hertz.
Yes, exactly. It is 50 hertz. All right. So I got frequency as 50 hertz. Now, what is the next thing that you will be keeping in mind? So after the frequency and the maximum value, so you have to calculate the time period. So what is the total time period that is there? So what is the equation? T would be equal to 1 by f. So that is 1 divided by 50. That would be, what is the answer?
0.02 seconds.
0. What is the answer?
0.02 seconds.
Correct. So 0.02 seconds. Yes, right. So now the time period is done. So next, what we have to find out? The instantaneous value of current. So I is said to be the instantaneous value of current. So that is 141.4 sine of 314 into 3 into 10 power minus 3. So this is the time. Okay, so this is the time. So can you let me know what is the instantaneous value of current? Sine of, yeah, what is this value? And what is the instantaneous value of current at t is equal to 3 milliseconds?
So total answer is 2.32, sir.
Okay. Is that right? May I know who answered it?
Navya, sir.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay, Navya. So what is this answer that you have got? This one? Can you let me know? What is that answer?
0.942, sir.
Yes. Now, a question to Navya. Have you kept it in degrees or radians?
Yes, sir. I kept it in degree. That's why I was mistaken.
It is radians. Okay. So, can you tell me the answer right now if it is in radians? What is the answer? Yeah. Punya is there? Priyanka?
So in radians, it is 114, sir. 114.35 in
Exactly.
radians.
No. Let me tell you, you have kept it in radians, right? So the
Yes, sir.
value of current is 114.35 amperes. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah, so it is 114.35 amperes. So the instantaneous value of current is 114.35 amperes at t equals 3 milliseconds. Okay, got it? So you have to keep it at radians all the time. Okay, so because omega is in radians per second, okay, and time is in seconds, so you will be getting the answer in terms of radians. Got it? So that is where you have to be clear in answering the numerical problems which is there here. Okay, fine. Okay, so let me move on to the next problem. Mega HV, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mega. So next problem, you have to assist me in giving the right answer. Okay. So hope the problem is clear to you. It is visible. This is the problem what we had covered, and this is the problem what we are going to do now. Okay. Yes. So it's an alternating current of frequency. What is the frequency? That is 60 hertz. Okay. So that is 60 hertz. The maximum value is 120 amperes. Okay. Got it? So write down the instantaneous value equation. Write down the equation for the instantaneous value. So what is the instantaneous value? I is equal to Im sine of omega t. Okay. So we want for omega, that is a 2 pi f. So we want omega to be found, which is 2 pi f, and Im is given as 120 amperes. Okay. So how you can write it? 120 sine of omega, that is 2 into pi into 60 into t. Okay, so that would be 120 sine of 120 pi t. Getting it right? So this is how you are going to find out the value of the instantaneous equation. That is the instantaneous equation of the current. Okay, so find the instantaneous value. Okay, so it is more or less the same, becoming positive. It is nothing but the half cycle like this. So it is reckoning 0. Okay, so what is the instantaneous value after t when it is equal to 1 divided by 360 second? Okay, so this is the instantaneous value of the equation that you have got. Okay, this is the instantaneous value of the equation that you have got. Okay, so now to this instantaneous value of the equation, so I would be equal to 120 sine of 120 pi into 1 divided by 360. Getting it right? So this is how you are going to do it. Okay, so what would be the answer? 120 sine of
So 103.9. That is 104.
120 sine. You can mute yourself, please. Please mute yourself.
Sir, is it audible, sir?
Please mute yourself, please. Yes, Badrinaran, can you help me out? I think I told Mega, right? Mega?
Yes, sir, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Let me know the answer for this. 60 into root 3. Is it right? So it is again in terms of radians, sine pi by 3. It is root 3 by 2. Okay.
So 103.9.
Exactly. So it is, I can take it as 104 amperes. Okay. At t is equal to 1 divided by 360 seconds, right? 360 seconds. Okay. Now, the next part of it is the time taken to reach 96 amperes for the first time. Okay. Time taken to reach 96 ampere for the first time. So I know I is equal to 120 sine of 120 pi t. Okay. So time taken to reach 96 amperes, sine of 120 pi into t. Okay. So 96 divided by 120, that would be equal to sine of 120 pi t. Okay. So what is the time taken? Can you help me out? What is the time taken? Yeah, 96 by 120 is 0.8. That would be equal to sine of 120 pi into t, and sine inverse of 0.8, that would be equal to 120 pi t. Okay. So now can you help me out in finding out what is t? Anyone in the meeting can give the answer, not a problem.
So t is 2.44 millisecond.
Exactly. So it is 2.44 millisecond. Okay. So how did you keep this? Is it in radians or degrees?
Radians, sir.
Exactly right. So you have to keep this in radians. So what is the answer that you are going to get? It is 2.44 milliseconds as the time. Okay. So this is the time here, and you can get the time for 96 amperes to be 2.44 milliseconds. Okay. Any doubts in solving this problem? Anyone? You can let me know. I'll stop and explain one more time. Any doubts? Any doubts? Anyone? Prasanna, any doubts? Pranati is there? Pranati is not there. Punya is not there. Madhav Shiv, Krishnamurthy, any doubts? Any doubts, anyone? I can help you out. Okay, so the next problem, I'll leave it to Punit Raj R. Punit Raj R. Okay, so he'll be solving this problem, which is that an alternating current has an effective value. So what do you mean by effective value? Effective value is nothing but, what is it? It is the RMS value, which is 200 amperes. So frequency is 25 hertz. Okay, so I want to find out what is the average value and what is the expression of current. Okay, so what is the expression of current? So what is the average value? Average value, and what is the expression of current? Okay, that is nothing but the alternating current expression for the current. Okay, so average value, you know that, effective value, average value relation, you know. So we know that VRMS, okay, that would be equal to, okay, so that would be a VM divided by root 2. Okay, so here it is a current, it is IRMS into root 2, that would be equal to IM. Got it? So this is how you will be finding out the maximum value. So maximum value is 200 into root 2. The expression for current is Im sine of omega t. So that would be equal to 200 root 2 sine of omega. Omega is 2 pi f. Okay, so which is 50 pi into t. Okay, so this is where you will be finding out the expression of current. Okay, so any doubts up to this point? Anyone? Any doubts up to this point? So these are some of the important problems that are there in case of AC fundamentals. Okay, so now you have got derivations which are there, so which is quite common in any of it, so which is nothing but the average value and the RMS value. Okay, so can you define RMS value now? How do you define RMS value? How do you define RMS value? Anyone?
So it is equal to that DC current when passed through a resistor produces same heat as that of produced by the alternating current.
Exactly. So once you take DC current of 5 amperes and once you take AC current of 5 amperes, so both the values will give the same heating effect. That is called that value of the AC current which produces the same heating effect. Okay, so once it flowing through a resistor, it produces the same heating effect. So you call that one to be a RMS value. RMS value is also called as effective value of the current. Okay, so how do you define average value? How do you define average value? Anyone in the meeting can let me know how do you define average value?
So the average value of all the AC quantities, sir.
Yeah, so the average value must be taken from 0 to which one? 0 to pi or 2 pi?
So 2 pi, sir, one complete cycle.
Yeah, one complete cycle, the average value of an AC wave would be equal to 0. So it is only the half cycle, right? Are you getting it? So let me show you with the help of the derivation. So average value is there, right? Average value. So this is a sinusoidal quantity. Getting it right? So once you take the positive one, so you'll get a positive sequence. And if you take it for a negative cycle, you'll be getting a negative sequence, right? So
Yes,
how
sir.
do you define V average? Okay, so that is important. So this is the maximum value. So how many peak values will be there? We'll be having 2 peak values. So I need to integrate it from 0 to pi. So it is alternating in nature. So it is V with respect to time dt. Again, integral 0 to pi. So that is Vm sine omega t dt. Okay, so sine omega t can be taken as sine theta. Okay, so this one. Okay, so I can write it as 0 to pi. I'll take Vm as the common factor, sine theta. That one, this is one, this is with respect to d omega t, and this is I can take it as d theta. Okay, so I'll be taking it as Vm. Okay, so Vm which is there. So this is the area I'm talking about. This is the area what I'm talking about. Dividing it by the base, we will do it after we find out what is the area. Okay, so it will be, yeah, it will be, so sine pi. Okay, so sine pi, whatever that is there. So that's 0. Okay, so you will be getting Vm sine omega t. Okay, so sine cos pi, so that is there. So cos pi, where we'll be having yeah, Nitish, any doubts? Okay, so I'll be having the integral 0 to pi sine theta d theta. So you have to integrate it and you will be finding out the area, which is nothing but 2 Vm, if I'm correct. Okay, so that would be minus cos theta, whatever that is there. So that is minus 1. So you'll be having one more minus outside. So that would be equal to 2 into Vm. Okay, so that is 2 into Vm there. All right, so that is the total area. So once you got this total area, so you need to divide it by the base term here. So which is from 0 to pi. So which is the total samples. So that is dividing it by the total samples, that is pi. Okay, so you will be getting 0.637 times Vm. So V average would be equal to 0.637 times Vm. Okay, got it? Any doubts up to this point? So this is V average here. Okay, so on a similar basis, V RMS you need to find out. So that would be integral 0 to pi. So V squared d t. Okay, dt. Okay, so that would be 0 to pi. So that is Vm squared sine squared theta d theta. So that would be Vm squared integral 0 to pi sine squared theta d theta. Okay, so evaluate this integral. So you will be getting V RMS and dividing it by the area again. So you will be getting it as V RMS. I'll write the final result. So that is Vm divided by root 2. Okay, I'll skip the steps which are there. So you are going to square it. So you are going to square this alternating quantity and you are going to get it like this, which is a squared value. So that is Vm squared sine squared omega t d omega t. Okay, t, and this one is V. Okay, so this is what you get there in case of the RMS value. Okay, RMS value. Got it? So next you have a simple definitions of form factor and peak factor. You can memorize it. So this is a memory level question, form factor and a peak factor. Okay, so and I have also wanted to highlight about the phasor representation, which I'll be doing in the tomorrow's class, or else I'll send a recorded video. You can go through it regarding the phasor representation of alternating quantities. Phasor representation of alternating quantities. Okay, so can anyone define what is form factor and what is peak factor right now of an AC wave?
Form factor is the ratio of RMS value to average value, which is equal to 1.11 for a sinusoidal quantity.
Very good, very precise answer. Yes. So next, peak factor.
So it is the ratio of maximum value to the RMS value for an alternating quantity, sir.
Yeah, what is the value?
So it is 1.414.
Exactly. So both the definitions are quite precise from your friends who are very good at defining this for you have to tell it. So it is a AC quantity only, sinusoidal. Okay, sinusoidal AC quantity only. Okay, so that is where you will be having the form factor and peak factor for AC wave, which is 1.11 and 1.414. Okay, so this is how you can expect such questions where derive an expression for the effective value or RMS value. RMS value is also called as effective value. Okay, we call it as effective value or the RMS value. Okay, so any doubts up to this point, anyone? You can let me know. Yes, Navya, if you have any doubts, let me know.
No doubt, sir.
Okay then. Okay, so anyone who is there in the meeting can unmute yourself and you can let me know. Nidhishri, Nischay, Priyanka, Nischita, anyone who is having any such doubts, Ranjana, anything that you have any doubt with respect to the concept here, you can let me know right now. Okay, so if you don't have any doubts related to it, so I'll be stopping this session right now.